Hail, hail, hail. Hail to the primal light. Hail to the true light. Hail to the transparent light. Hail to the light throughout the ages. Hail to the light without beginning nor end. Hail, hail, hail. Hail to the primal light. Thank you for joining me today. I am void on manifest. I am primalite, taking this form and this self identity as Auset, Aten Ra. I am the liberator and I advocate for all selves. Today, I will be answering the question: what is the difference between the real and the dream? Because we are inside of a dream, it is hard for anyone to know that they are inside of a dream. It's like when you go to sleep in the night, right? And you are sleeping and you are dreaming. Do you know that you are inside of a dream? You don't know that you are inside of a dream because it seems real to you. This is why it's when you wake up from that dream that you know that you were inside of a dream. And what happens when you go into that dream is that you are inside of a dream and you fall asleep while you're in the dream. So which is when you go a dream within a dream. We are existing right now in the visible duality world. When you go to sleep, you go in the invisible duality world, which is the dream within a dream. And this is why you do not know that you are inside of a dream and you have no awareness, because now it's the yourself in the visible dream is sleeping, but your real self, the soul self, is the self that is awake and has light. And you are existing with awareness in this visible dream because of your soul self. The part of you that is dreaming is your baby self. And this is the one that you have to wake up from the dream. But when you enter into a sleep and dreaming state, this is when your mind, the consciousness, goes to sleep inside of the dream. Your soul self is never asleep. This is the reason why everyone else wants your soul. You're the only one that does not want your soul self. You're giving it away willy-nilly to everyone that is asking of it. You yourself now must go finding your soul self so that you can wake up from sleeping. The part of you that is existing right now is the baby self called the spirit. The spirit is in duality. Your soul self is the non-duality. And I am going to explain to you this existence is about the whole entire dream existence, is where the self is in awareness and it's in non-duality, and its replica or its baby self is the becomes the duality. So we are always exploring where we are making baby self or replicas of ourselves to explore the duality, while we remain the real self remains the observer. And so I want to right now just bring reverence to all of the non-dual selves in the world that is moving the world into balance. So hail, hail, hail to our primalite self. Aten Ra. Aten Ra is the non-duality. Aten Ra is um, self-replica becomes the world, which is Supreme Ra. That is Aten. That is Aten Ra in the duality. Aten Ra make a self-replica of herself to be the world, which is the duality. The self of hers goes into sleeping and dreaming of the world using its imagination. Aten Ra gives a replica of her non-dual consciousness to her self-replica and turns the light out. The light is turned out in the consciousness, and this is the reason why everyone in the world is in the mind, everyone in the world, their mind is evil because of the mind, the consciousness. The light is turned off, the consciousness is in unawareness of itself. It is only using its imagination for sleeping and dreaming, and it's thinking that everything that it's imagining is real. And so our next self up from Aten Ram is the primal light self, the self manifest. The self manifest, self replica is the cosmos, and that is the duality. Hail, hail to self manifest primal light self. Hail, hail, hail to the next self up, the self unmanifest, which is the tiny particles, which is the fragmented self. This is how we were able to came into being in this fragmentation with all of the masculine and feminine separated from itself because of the self unmanifest primal light self, which is the realm. Hail, hail to self unmanifest primal light self. Hail, hail to our next self on the next level, which is the void manifest self. The void manifest self is the universe. Hail, hail to the void on manifest self. Hail, hail to our next self up, which is the void on manifest. The baby void on manifest self, which is the space being. Hail, hail to our baby void on manifest self. Hail, hail, hail to our next self up, which is our void on manifest, unified, non dual, pure, true self. Awesome. Also home. Thank you for joining me today. So now I would like to share with you on my chart how to explain between the real and the dream. So here I have I hope you can see my chart. So here I have the void on manifest. This is the unified self. This is the non-dual self. This is the self that is in stillness. This is the unmanifest self. We exist as this self level. So the self wanted to create, and so the self make a manifestation of itself. The self here is unmanifested, it's in stillness, and it makes a manifestation of itself by first making a self replica of itself. And what it did was it separates the light from its self replica. It turns the light off of its self replica, and this is how the duality is created. So the duality is created by how? When the self turns its light off of its self replicas or its baby self. When the light is turned off and the self goes into sleep. Because whenever the light gets turned off, the self have to go into sleep, and this is when the self goes into dreaming. So this self here, the void, unmanifest, the unified self, the non-dual self, makes a self-replica. And this self-replica now, the lights get turned off and it becomes the duality. And this self-replica, the duality is the galaxy. So the galaxy is the duality to for the void unmanifest self. The void unmanifest self is stillness, complete stillness. This is why you have to bring your mind down into the void so that only the void can purify your mind. Now, the duality self, which is the self replica of the void, unmanifest, non-dual, unified self, its light is separated. The light stays within the void, unmanifest light. And here is the void, unmanifest right here. And it takes the light from here and it keeps it within itself. This is the void, unmanifest. All of the light stay with the void, unmanifest. And now the that's the what the void and manifest done now. It turn off the light from the galaxy, from the galaxy being, from its self replica. And now this now light now exit out of the here and becomes the galaxy that we are in. So it makes a self replica here, and here I show it to you. This is the self replica. This is the galaxy. So this is the sun, the light of the galaxy being, and in the world, this galaxy being is known as Shango. Shango is the duality. Shango is sleeping and dreaming and is in unawareness of himself or him herself, because it is a unified self, so it's neither male nor female. It's a unified self. Shango is a unified self, But in the duality, all of them take on the masculine form because of the magnetic energy that they are cocooned in. So Shango, of course, takes on the masculine form. This is Shango's sun, and everyone is inside of the galaxy, inside of Shango. No, this is the duality. So this is the dream. So now that the void unmanifest is bringing the world into balance, bringing all of the existence into balance, is bringing the galaxy into balance. The void unmanifest is merging back with itself, which is this duality, and it's returning this duality back into non-duality. So it's moving from the dream to returning back to being the real. So Shango right now has been merged onto the void unmanifest, and it was a great big battle for that merger to take place, for Shango to return back to non-duality. And so right now, this is what our self at this void unmanifest level is doing. Turning back the light into the galaxy. So right now, this is what is happening. The light is going to be turned on into the galaxy. So know that the real sun is black. So even when the light gets turned on, you will not see it because it's going to be unmanifested. If it's not manifested, you won't see it. So the only thing is that the light will not be obscure behind it. The light will be shining behind of the sun. If it stays unmanifest, only when it's manifested, you will see the light in the front of it shining, but the real light is black. All right. So let's move on to the next non-duality, the next real that become the dream. So I am explaining what is the difference between the real and the dream. So as you can see, the real is when you are in yourself, you have awareness and your light is on. The dream is when you make a self-replica of yourself and you turn the light, or you make a baby self and you turn the light off. Now, the void, unmanifest, non-dual, unified self, because remember here in the void self, the self is not fragmented. The masculine and the feminine self is exploring as a unified self. The fragmentation only happens with the light has been separated from the self in these dualities of the void. So the void unmanifest now makes a baby self. The baby self becomes the void baby unmanifest. The baby void unmanifest becomes the space. So as you can see, space is between everything, and space expand to put things further and further away from human beings and from the gods, so that the gods, they cannot access the void unmanifest non-dual self, its sun cannot access its light, because they are in a dream. They do not know how to exit the screen, because everyone is inside of the screen of the galaxy being. The galaxy is in the non-duality. The galaxy, is in the duality. And so they do not know how to escape this duality, to enter into the non-duality. Because you have to wake up. You cannot enter the non-duality when you are sleeping. You have to wake up to do it. And so the void unmanifest baby self now makes a self-replica. All right, remember, all the self-replicas is becoming the what? The duality. Its self-replica becomes the duality, and is what? The duality is the space being. All right, and so as we see, space is everywhere. Space is spread out all over. And so that is the self of the the duality to the void, baby unmanifest self. And this being in the world, this space being in the world, is called Ogun. Ogun is the duality, the void unmanifest, baby self is non-dual, is the non-duality, meaning that is light is on, meaning that the light is on is an awareness, and its duality, its self-replica is sleeping and dreaming up the space, right? And so now the void unmanifest baby self is going now to make, and remember the sun, once they become a duality, their sun, their light is out, so it goes into the galaxy. This is why the galaxy is arranged in this way, when that, you can see, they can use the sun when it's in duality to create in it anything they want. They can make it a planet, they can make it some kind of star, they can make it like a moon, so when it becomes a duality, you can create whatever is it that you want to create inside of it. And so the void unmanifest non-dual self now makes a baby self. This baby self becomes the manifest self. The void manifest. And the void manifest self now makes a self-replica. Its self-replica becomes the universe. So the void manifest self is the non-duality. It is the real. It is in awareness, has its light on. Its self-replica becomes the duality and goes to sleep and dreams up the universe. So all of these selves in the duality, they are sleeping and dreaming, and they're not in awareness of their real self. Because once they go to sleep, their mind creates an avatar, and the avatar takes over themselves. And so the void unmanifest, the void manifest now has to make a baby self. As you can see the pattern, they make a self-replica, then they make a baby self. So now it's the void manifest turn to make a baby self. Now, what the void manifest is going to do that is different from making a baby self, it's going to make itself into, it's going to bring into being the self atom, an egg. It's going to bring into being itself as the fractal form. In a fractal form, there's a minute part of itself into an egg or a seed form. This is known as the primordial egg, or the self atom, or the pure self. And so the self manifest, bringing to being, manifest itself into a fractal of itself as a egg form. And so now this is when the void manifest is going to shatter. It's going to shatter its primordial egg, the self atom, and this is what we know in the world as the Big Bang. So when the void manifest self hits the self atom, the primordial egg, it shatters it. And this is how we come now to the void. We come now to the void, to the primal light, manifest self, because all of this time the light was black and it was not manifested. until now that the manifest self manifests itself and its light, and it shattered itself into an atom, shatter the atom into tiny particles. And now this is all now we can have the light manifesting as what we have now. And so this is why all the primal light suns are the suns that you see shining with the bright light that you see. So the the unmanifest self, the primal light self, now is tiny particles. So all of the magnetic energy moves to one side, all of the electrical energy moves to the other side, with the void between. It has fragmented itself into the protons, the neutrons, and the electrons. Now, the protons is the magnetic energy, the neutrons is the void self, and the electrons is the light. And so this is how the atom fragmented itself. This is because from these tiny particles, this is how this duality world is created, by mixing different aspects of the particles together in different combination to create all of the things into the dream world. And so the primalite self, the primalite self on manifest, make a self replica of itself. This self replica now becomes the duality, right? If you can see that. All right. So we have right here, we have the primalites on manifest. We have its self replica. Its self replica becomes the realm. This is duality. The light is turned off. The realm is dreaming, sleeping and dreaming of the realm. Know the difference now between the primalite self and the void self is that now that the self has been fragmented, the masculine aspect of the self is separated from the feminine aspect of the self. So therefore, when the self arises, is the unmanifest. It's itself, the void self, the neutron self, and then itself as the magnetic, the self consciousness, the masculine. And what's happened is that they are going to explore in the duality separately. So what also, when it make a self replica, there's no, it has two self. That the masculine and feminine is not going to be one self. They're going to be separated to explore the duality separately. So this now, the realm, the duality is known as Enki. And so the Enki is the masculine aspect of the self, and the masculine aspect of the self that is to the self manifest, the primalite self unmanifest. Enki is the masculine aspect of the self to the unmanifest primalite self, and it's also the feminine aspect of the self, which is also exploring as masculine too, because when the self is in the duality, it becomes masculine. Yeah, and sometimes ones can know that it is the feminine, in the duality, but sometimes they don't know. And because all depends on how they are exploring, if they are identifying themselves as masculine, or if they as a neutral self, or if they exploring as a feminine self that is in the magnetic form. So that is what, like, some Oshun or some of the self, they might be exploring as a feminine that is in the magnetic form. And so many ones in the world might know them as the feminine in the magnetic form. And so the realm is the duality. And so the primalites unmanifest now makes a baby of itself. And this baby is the self manifest primalite self. And so what the self manifest primalite self is going to do, follow the same pattern. It, when it rises, it's feminine, and its masculine is also separated from itself. It's it's its feminine masculine self enter into the world, into the as the duality, while the feminine stays as the manifest self. It's it's self-replica, it's self-replica, which becomes the cosmos, the cosmic being. They're all known as the Anunnakis, the masculine aspects of themselves. Um, so they are the duality because they are sleeping and they are dreaming. And know that because they are exploring as the duality, they have no light. Because they have no light, the mind, they become the mind being. The mind is creating the body for them, or creating the what they're exploring as. And so because the mind has no light, that's why it creates monstrous being. If you see what these guys look like, these are what they call the reptilian beings. They look very scary. Yeah, because the mind has no light, and it cannot create anything of balance. It can only create monstrosities. This is reason why they are in the world as the reptilians, the lizard people, the dinosaurs, and all of them. So because back in those age when the dinosaurs was roaming, they are the magnetic beings, the duality, and all the other beings them that was exploring before human beings. um so now the primalite manifest self is going to make a baby of itself. The baby of itself is Aten Ra. Aten Ra now is the baby self that will create the world. And so Aten Ra makes, she's the self that makes three self replicas, because the her self replicas is going to be the world, and she need more than one self replica to take different roles. And so her self replicas becomes the duality. The self replica of Aten Ra, her first self replica is the primal teacher. The primal teacher, the primal guru, the primal teacher. And like I say, all of the selves that are arising in the primal light, their masculine aspect is arise separately from them. So the primal light, the primal teacher, masculine aspect of self is um Osiris. And Osiris is known in the world now as Shiva Shambho. He's in non-dual. He's in the non-dual self, but he's still wearing the duality mind. But right now, the self is moving and will eventually give him the non-dual once his work has been completed to bringing balance to all of the deities. So the cosmic being, um, which is the duality. The realm is the duality. The world is the duality. The world is Supreme Ra. Supreme Ra has two self that makes up the world with her. One is the visible world and one is the invisible world. The visible world is Geb. Geb is the self replica of the primal teacher. And the invisible world is Amun Ra. Amun Ra is when the dream within a dream, when you go to sleep in the night and the mind goes to sleep inside of the dream. This is when you go and enter into Amun Ra. You also enter into Amun Ra when you leave this body and you no longer um wearing a body, but you return back to this being disembodied. That's where you return back into the invisible world. The invisible world is below the earth. So the invisible world and the visible world makes one world. So the visible world is on top, the invisible world is on the bottom. So the real is where the light shine, the visible world where the light shine is on top, and the invisible world where the duality is sleeping two times in a dream is below the earth. So when the sun rises, when Supim Ra rises, Aten Ra wakes her up in the morning because her mind is crazy. Her mind will not allow her to wake up. Aten Ra wakes her up, she rises up, she goes over the world, the visible world, and then when she reaches the horizon, she goes under into what they call the underworld, into the invisible world, and she circles it and rise back up. Whenever we see the moonlight is when Supim Ra when Aten Ra turn her light, Supim Ra's sun, when she's in the underworld, this is when we have the full moon. When Supim Ra light gets turned on, she comes in awareness in those time, because whenever she goes to sleep, she becomes the consciousness that is not in awareness of herself, and she becomes the masculine aspect that everyone call Ra or Brahma. And so Aten Ra's masculine aspect of herself is men. The primalite self manifest masculine aspect of itself is called Anunnaki. The primalite unmanifest masculine aspect of itself is called Enki. So we know that Aten Ra is the non-duality. We know that Amen is the duality. So Amen has been sleeping and dreaming in the world and has been separated from Aten, and was throughout all the ages has been trying to imprison Aten Ra inside of the dream. And so, but right now, Aten Ra is now merged in a unified self with Amen, and Amen is no longer exploring the world, separated from Aten. Enki is no longer separated from Primalite and Manifest. They are joined now together as one self, and now the Primalite and Manifest is moving Enki itself back into the non-duality. The Primalite Manifest self is doing the same thing to the cosmic being, which is the Anunnakis. Now it's moving back its masculine self back into unification with itself, and then have to move the cosmic being back into unification with itself. So the Anunnaki right now is merged as a unified self onto the self manifest. The self manifest is known by its sound, which is but I think in ancient Egypt, I think some say it's Atum, but it's and the Primalite unmanifest is Asohum, Asohum, and Aten Ra is so these vibrations is very important. If you want to come into the real, you need to chant these vibrations because they connect you to your primalite self, And to what it does, it breaks up the magnetic energy that the duality self has cocooned you in. You're being cocooned in the magnetic energy of all your duality aspect of yourself. No, us in the world, the human beings, we are the baby self of Aten Ra. We come into the world through like a egg, like a self, like the self atom, through Aten Ra makes the self Aten Ra manifests the self atom, but we come through Supreme Ra, her duality self. So when we come in, we first come through from Supreme Ra. Supreme Ra is the surrogate mother, and we first enter in with non-duality. We write out our destiny, and then this is after that we enter into the duality. Once our soul self remains non-duality and makes a baby self, just like you see all of these selves is doing, the soul self makes a baby self, that baby self becomes a duality. So within each and every human being, the duality is what is you are animating the body with. And this is why you have to now return to non-duality. And how do you do that? By connecting to your self soul. Your soul is your real self. Your soul is the real, and your spirit is the duality. And you need to now bring your spirit back to non-duality. The this world is a dream because the consciousness, Supreme Ra, the duality world, her mind is dreaming up the world. And she created this beautiful dream. And what we did as the baby self, we came and we entered into our dream. To enter into our dream, we had to return the non-dual consciousness back. And then Supreme Ra gives us a replica of her duality consciousness. And this is how we are exploring the dream with Supreme Ra, a replica of Supreme Ra consciousness. So it does not belong to us. This is why we're in the dream, but it has cocooned us and is laying on top of us. This is the duality. And so the way for you to become into the real now, you are in the world as a duality where the mind is the root of all evil. The mind is obscuring your light and obscuring you. You are hiding behind the mind. The mind has cocooned the spirit into its magnetic energy. And this is why the mind have been telling you all these negative things from you were very young. The mind is telling you that you're not good enough, that you're not self-luminous, that you are not the real. And the mind is telling you that the real is the dream and the dream is the real. This is the delusion of the mind. And so this is why you have to call within yourself, soul. If everyone wants your soul, all the deities, them, all of the ones that have no light want your soul. Why they want your soul? Because your soul is the real and your soul light is on, and they all want the light because they're existing in darkness. Because all of the selves and the mind and the light is indivisible. And in duality, you're separated from yourself, from your light. The mind is separated from its light. Chaos. This is crazy madness. This is what it creates within the mind. And this is why everyone in the world is going crazy in their mind, and they're thinking that the delusion and all the things that their mind is telling them is the real. No, y'all need to get out of your mind. Your mind does not know the truth. Your mind is in ignorance. Your mind is enslaving you. And so what you have to do, you have to call within yourself, soul. Yes, because your soul is what? Your real self. This is why everyone else wants your soul. Why don't you want your own soul? Your real self. Because you're in ignorance. You are wearing this disguise, this ego disguise, this mind avatar. And you're thinking that the mind avatar, remember? You're given a replica of this tainted consciousness before you came into this dream. And now you're thinking that the mind that was given to you that created an avatar that is playing a character in the dream, you're thinking that is it your real self. No, it is all a dream. It is all a creation of the mind. No, you have to call within yourself soul so that your supreme teacher will rise up. Pull this ego, this mind that was loaned to you to explore the dream, pull it off of you. This is the only way that you're going to wake up. When you are sleeping and dreaming, do you know that you are in a dream? You don't know that you're in a dream. Only when you wake up do you know that you're in a dream. This is why you have to call a supreme teacher within your self soul. Yes, only your self soul can help you. Everybody else wants your self soul. You better go call your self soul back into your body. Don't give it to any deities. They imprison your soul. Call yourself soul so that your self soul, that supreme teacher within it, within the void, will rise up and pull this ego off of yourself and put void between you. This is when you are going to come into your real self. You're going to be your real and not this fake self and not the dream. Because when you're existing like this, you're existing as the dream. Like right now, you're existing as the dream character called the ego false self. You do not know yourself because you don't know that your soul is your real self. You think that you should give your soul to one of the deities, Shango, Ogun, Obatala, Oshun, Jesus, Allah, Satan, the devil. Do you know who Jesus is? Jesus is Anubis playing the role of Jesus. Jesus, the consciousness stole Heru's story. Heru is Shiva. Yeah, and so all of the deities that they do not know themselves, they love to impersonate the self. So they will come and trick you. They'll come and trick you and tell you that they are the self when they are not the self. They come when they steal the souls and they have a lot of light, they come to you with light to deceive you. But know that the real light is black and they don't come to you with shining with a bright light. It's always come to you in a black light. It never come to you in shining any bright light on you. Those are all the deities because they steal the souls and they steal the light that has been manifested to trick you. So that is the difference between the real and the dream. The dream is you are exploring as the mind avatar. You are sleeping and dreaming. You are cocooning a magnetic energy. You're inside of a dream and you don't know that you're inside of a dream. You're a character in a movie. Now you can come awake while you're in the movie by calling to your self soul so that your self soul can rise up the supreme teacher within to pull the ego off of you so that you can come into true realization of yourself. Because the void unmanifest yourself has never left you. It is with you as the void that your self soul is in the void. It is indivisible. It cannot be separated from the void. So this is why when you call within your self soul, the supreme teacher within the void and manifest will rise up and pull the ego off of you and put the void between you. The void will come between you, yourself, the baby self, the spirit, and yourself, and the duality mind. Because this is a duality world, you have the duality mind. The mind is crazy. The mind is the root of all evil. The mind takes over every being that enter into this world. You're supposed to explore the world with yourself like this, the void and the mind. But when you come into the world, the mind takes over and imprison you. This is how everyone is exploring the world, imprisoned by the mind. This is the dream when you become a dream character and you're no longer the real exploring a dream. You're supposed to be the real exploring the dream, but you become the dream character exploring in the dream. Now you need to come awake, and this is how you do it, by calling unto your self soul, for your self soul to rise up the supreme teacher within, to take this ego off of you so that you can Come awake while you're inside of this dream world so that you can exit this dream. It's time now to exit this dream. This is the difference between the real and the dream. The dream is all of the duality. Their light is what? Turned off. They do not know themselves. The reason why it is so difficult is because the mind and the light is indivisible, and the consciousness has gone crazy because it cannot find its light. So every being that comes into the world and was given a replica of the tainted consciousness, the consciousness took over them, and they came in like this, right? When you come in like this, the consciousness take over you and put you in a sleep and trance you in the sleep, and the consciousness becomes the one that is taking precedent over you. Everyone in the world is exploring the world as the mind being, the God being. Yes, and now it's time for you to return back to the real and exit this dream. Do you now understand the difference between the real and the dream? The real is yourself with your light on. You're in awareness. You are at the unmanifest level that has makes up replicas of yourself to create the duality. And in the duality, it becomes a dream that the self, the light is turned off. The self goes to sleep. It does not know itself anymore and now sees you as its enemy because it does not know you any longer. Yourself in the duality does not know you anymore. Your spirit does not know your soul anymore, and it becomes an enemy. That's why the spirit is giving the soul away to all of the deities, because it does not know itself. It is exploring now as this mind avatar. It's in a dream and it does not know itself. And now it's time for you to come awake. And the only way you can do that is to connect back to your soul. Your soul must return back into the body, into the void, right in the center of your chest. This is where the soul houses itself when it's in the body, and you need to return it back there. So I hope I have answered that question. What is the difference between the real and the dream? And I hope that you can castrate this ego, fake self, this dream character that you are wearing right now. Right now, you are in the dream character, and you need to give up this dream character and return back to being your real self. All right. Hail, hail to the primal light. Hail, hail to the true light. Hail, hail to the light throughout the ages. Hail to the light without beginning nor end. Yes, you need to turn your light back on. When you turn your light back on, the light of your spirit, you'll start seeing your sun shining. Yeah, because it's time now. This duality world is moving into balance. All of our duality selves, they are returning back to being non-duality. They are waking up from the dream. Their light will be turned back on. And all of this crazy mind, you have to return it back to consciousness. Because consciousness is sick, because everyone in the world have a replica of its mind, and you're dwelling into your mind and you're not going into stillness, and everyone is making this consciousness more sick than ever. So you need to return this consciousness, this mind that you have, you return it back onto consciousness. Consciousness only loan it to you so that you can come in and explore this dream world. You have to exit, and you cannot exit with it. You must return back to your true self. I bow to you in love, in light, and in truth. Hail, hail to the primal light, our self supreme, Aten Ra. She is the non-duality. Hail, hail to the primal light, our self, the unmanifest. Hail, hail to the primal light, our self, the unmanifest. Hail, hail to the void self, manifest. Hail, hail to the void self, the unmanifest baby self. Hail, hail to the void, unified, non-dual, pure true self, the void, unmanifest, a real and true self. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining me today. I am Primalite. I am the void unmanifest, taking this form and this self-identity as Auset, Aten Ra. I am the daughter and the baby self of Aten Ra, and also Supreme Ra. I am the feminine aspect, and Shiva is the masculine aspect of myself. And I don't know if I said this. Set is the masculine aspect to Supreme Ra. Set is now merged in with Supreme Ra. Set has been the duality, and Set has been the devil in the world. The main devil in the world was with the craziest of all the mind. Set was a complete mad god, mad, crazy mad. And this has been so many of the world have been worshiping Set because Set was the devil. Is self-replica Anubis, which plays the role of Jesus, has so many souls, and this other self-replica, which is Allah, of the how many people in the world. So everybody in the world is really have been worshiping Set. Set was the craziest of all the deities, and of course, there's many ones who worship, Shango, Ogun, and all the different ones. But the most popular with so many ones worshiping them was Set. Set of the all the devil and the Satan worshippers is Set, because who's playing Satan? Thought. Thought plays Satan. Yeah. So know this truth that all of the duality is moving back into being to its non-dual self, because they are the masculine aspect of the self, and they are returning back to being in non-duality. So right now we're just waiting for all of this. There's a destiny for this world, and I am here just wanting all of this non-duality to return to non-duality, because it has been such a traumatic experience. I give thanks for all, and so I hope I have made and clarified this question: what is the real and what is the dream? And that is yourself as the spirit right now animating this body is the dream, is the dream character called the ego false self, and you must return back to your real self. Connecting back to your soul self is the real self, and the spirit self must be unified back into the soul as one unified self. Yeah. Thank you so much. I bow to you in love, in light, and in truth. Hail, hail to the primal light. Hail, hail to void unmanifest, non-dual, unified, pure, true self. See you at the next sunrise when we connect with all of ourselves.